Hi everyone, it's Jackson. I just wanted to make a quick video to explain one of the quiz questions from yesterday. A couple people had a little bit of a hard time and wanted some extra explanation on this question. And the question involved adding two supply curves together. So here it is on the right-hand side. Suppose the supply curves for firm A and firm B are shown in the figure on the right. So we have these two supply curves, SB here and SA. So the supply curve for firm A and the supply curve for firm B. And what we want to do is we want to use the multi-tool to draw the total supply curve. So on the left, I've wrote out the formula for total supply, and it's pretty straightforward. Our total supply is just for every price. That's why SA is a function of price and SB is a function of price. At a certain price, firm A will be willing to produce some quantity. And at each price, firm B will also be willing to produce some quantity. The total supply is just going to be those two quantities added together. So we can figure out what the total supply is at each price by just going through the graph here. So I made a little table so we can mark it down. Let's start out at price 2. That's the first one that I put in the table. Well, at price 2, SB doesn't even show up, and SA is still at 0. So at this price of P equals to 2, we actually have SA equals 0 and SB equals 0. So these two added together is just going to be 0 as well. What about price equals to 4? Well, at price equals 4, SB is still equal to 0, but SA is now equal to 2, as we can see right here. So at price equals to 4, SA equals 2, SB equals 0. So our S total is just going to be 2 plus 0 equals 2. Now let's move up to price equals to 8. At price equals to 8, SB is still 0, and SA is equal to 6. So here we have SA equals 6, SB equals 0, so our total is going to be 6. At price 10, now we can see that SB is willing to supply 1 at this price of 10. SA is willing to supply 8. So we have 8 for firm A, 1 for firm B. So at the price level of 10, these two firms together are going to be willing to produce 9 units. Finally, at 14, we go out to SB. We see that firm B is willing to produce 3 at a price of 14, and firm A is willing to produce 12. So we have 12 plus 3, which means that our price of 14, our total supply is going to be 15. So we notice for all of these price levels, 2 through 8, firm B is willing to produce 0. So our supply curve just follows along SA because that's the only firm willing to produce at those price levels. Now starting at price 8, then SB is also willing to produce, and we're just going to shift the supply curve out to add SB onto what SA is already supplying. And our supply curve is going to look like this. So that's our total supply curve. So essentially, we're just adding these two curves together in a horizontal manner because the supply curve tells us at each price how much the total market is willing to supply, which is these two firms in this case. So in order to find out the total supply curve, we need to look at how much firm A is willing to produce at a given price, Also look at how much firm B is willing to produce at a given price. And the total supply curve is just going to be those two added together. And it will look like this figure on the right. So that was the correct answer for this question. I hope this was helpful.